Welcome to Simply Bitcoin. We break down the news from Twitter, the daily fail, meme review, software releases, hardware releases, the websites by Plebs or Plebs. Drop us a like, subscribe. We're going to the numbers. Let's do it.
Number time!
At the time of this recording, the block height is 697,736. The Bitcoin price, 47,230. Chain rewrite days, 900. Total public lightning capacity, 2,364.48. That is a new all-time high.
Yes, it is.
That's per dollar, 2,117, and the blocks to the halvening, 142,264.
The signal is the Lightning Network capacity. It is going effing parabolic, man. That just makes me so goddamn future. And Phil, we are less than 2 weeks away from Bitcoin becoming legal tender in another country and finally having a fair fight against the US dollar. And I suspect, I'm calling this now, it's going to blow it the fuck out of the water, baby. What do you think?
Yeah, and I think it's definitely not happening without a fight, right? Like this is definitely not happening without a fight.
Nope. No, it's not.
It's gonna be interesting. We're gonna see some fireworks. We got our popcorn, and we are ready to report on it.
Of course,
it's gonna be funny.
It is, man, and yeah, no, you're absolutely right. They're already pulling the stops. You know, Steve Hanke, we covered the article on the show. They're already freaking the f out. You know, they're gonna try everything in its power. They've already tried to threaten them. We have the mainstream propaganda arm also, you know, writing some pretty crazy articles. You know, and yeah, and it's crazy because if you put this in perspective, you know, essentially what happened, right, is another country just decided to declare Bitcoin legal tender, right? Like, none of these journalists, Steve Hanke, none of them are from El Salvador. But apparently they feel like they have a say in El Salvador's affairs, apparently. You know, that's how I know they're scared shitless.
Why does it even matter to them? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, you're not living there. What do you care? Hey, if they're going to go make the biggest mistake in the world, you know what you should be doing? You should be helping them out. Mm-hmm. Because if you're so certain that it's the worst thing they could possibly do and that it's so terrible, well, so then, hey, you know what I mean? Like, help speed it up and then let's see what happens. This is what I find so hypocritical, right? Like, this is why we know that they're scared for the right reasons.
Absolutely.
You know, they're scared because they know that they're full of shit and the time is up. And it's like, uh-oh. You know, we have this thing, Bitcoin, that we can't stop that shows just how stupid every decision we make is. And not only that, but you see, we used to have to wait for those decisions to actually appear. But now with Bitcoin, we see it happening a lot faster. We get to see how stupid it is almost in real time, you know, immediately.
Absolutely. So. Man, and you hear that, Steve Hanke? You hear that? The talk is clicking. You're running out of time, mother effer. And yeah, dude, you should be, because you're a goddamn slave owner and Bitcoin is gonna free us from your goddamn tyranny. But anyways, Phil, it's time for
the daily fail. We're getting a lot of help from our, you know, from the viewers, so shout out to you guys. This is one I can't show them all, right? So like, I'm doing my best to go through them, and like, hopefully I can get to the ones that were given to me today. I got like 3 today. I still have to actually go through and dive in, but this was the one I started diving into this morning. Okay, this Sync Network P2P lending. Yeah, here we go. So look, okay, I'm not going to pretend that like I understand all of the intricacies about this. And the reality is that we just don't need to, because a lot of it is just a bunch of wordsmithing. And when you understand that the base layer of this crap is centralized garbage, okay, and a smart contract that is essentially run, you know, by one person or a very small group of people, or as Nico likes to say, you know, is being hosted on Amazon Web Services. So once you understand all these things and you read through these articles, you just see right through the BS. But anyways, let's dive into it. Here we go. Okay. Sync Network, right? The launch of peer-to-peer lending on its platform offered to offer heightened security to lenders. So this is what they're doing, okay? They're offering heightened security. We're going to keep that in mind, guys. Sync, the Ethereum-based platform, aims to mitigate risk and bring stability to the DeFi space with the help of time-locked, reward-generating NFTs called, get ready, crypto bonds. This is so. Don't get me wrong, but like I want you to think about this, right? So now you have like some time locked shitcoin on their centralized non-liquidity crap, and now we've got something new, something that gives it. So you see what you do right there, crypto bond, right? What do you do there? You create the idea that look, it's something safe, right? It's a bond, right? Bonds are boring. They're never really going to disappear, but they're never really going to do much, nice and safe. Anyways, moving on. Ever since its inception, Sync has seen steady growth and has recently managed to bag collaborations. Get ready. This is the thing that I learned about that I like to call the partnership parade. Managed to bag collaborations with some prominent names. Here we go, little circle jerk. In the DeFi space, such as TrustSwap, shitcoin, and DexTools, shitspace. All right, great. So look, in 2017, I learned the hard way about this. I thought that these partnerships and these collaborations and all these things, I thought they meant something. They don't mean anything, okay? They do absolutely nothing. This is all just garbage. It's noise to make you think that something is actually happening. Anyways, the platform claims that this move is enabling users to lend and borrow capital on crypto bonds in a, this is my favorite part, the trustless manner. Really? Trustless manner? All run on those AWS servers? Who's holding... Anyways, it's okay. I'm going to continue here. According to the developers of the Sync network, this method of lending against a crypto bond can provide unprecedented levels of security for lenders and borrowers alike. So there's no actual detail to this, right? This is because of the way we've conceived of it, boom. It offers heightened security to the lenders and the borrowers because we say so. For lenders, the collateral is stored in escrow for the duration of the loan. If the borrower fails to pay the loan, the lender becomes the new owner of said crypto bond, protecting the lender from financial risk. I had to read that a few times. How does the person holding the crypto bond to the thing that the person isn't paying back, how is that worth anything? Why is that worth anything? Let's continue. Find out where they're going to get their money back from, right? The lender also gets a promissory note NFT. Oh, there you go. Oh, there we go. A debt note, much like a real-world promissory note, is a tangible representation of the loan. If at any point the lenders want their lent sum of money back before the specified maturity period, they can sell their NFT on an NFT marketplace. Who's going to buy this shit? Why is it going to have any value at all? Incentivizing long-term liquidity providers. Here we go. Staking has become a popular way, and we all know what staking really means, right? Nico's explained it many times. It has to do with the voting, right? You get the more you have, the more votes you have, the more you get to control the ecosystem. Anyway, staking has become a popular way for DeFi projects to create liquidity and build, my favorite part again, trustless network, whereas for traders, staking presents new opportunities to earn rewards with their assets. Okay, so look, this is just a whole bunch of nonsense and hocus pocus, okay? It is like liquidity for liquidity's sake, and like I've said to you guys before, and you don't have to believe me, I don't really care, but the rug pulls that happen from this, that's the use case for these things. All of what I just read to you is fluff and noise to make you feel like you're doing something that makes sense and that you're making an informed decision and you're getting details. Like, this is all garbage. It's all garbage. It's all a scam. I can't wait to read this on another fail in a year from now when they do the rug pull. It might not even last a year. Who knows? Usually the rug pulls, the rug pulls tend to increase when like Bitcoin starts to hit new all-time highs. So who knows? We may be we may be covering this again in like 3 months. Not to say that we're going to see all-time highs again in 3 months, but I'm just saying we may be covering this again in 3 months.
Man,
we don't like to speculate.
Was that a hint? You know what's fascinating though, Phil, is that man, these shitcoin scammers or just scammers in general are dude, they pull out all the stops to try to separate you from your Bitcoin. You know, they'll use all the buzzwords. In this case, you know, they're using promissory note, you know, they're from the legacy system, they're using bonds, you know, to try to convince you that it's legitimate. We've spoken many times why DeFi isn't DeFi. Why isn't it DeFi? Because the person that controls a smart contract is essentially God. Does that sound very DeFi? Does that sound like decentralized finance? That sounds more like this old system we have. And I'm going to say a little bit of an unpopular opinion, okay? Listen, our enemy are central banks, right? Our enemy are not commercial banks, right? Commercial banks, the problem that they have now is that their incentives are, you know, they have a conflict of interest. What is the conflict of interest, right? They're trying to provide banking services, right? But they're also holding your money, right? So that's not necessarily, that's a giant conflict of interest. But what happens to these commercial banks the moment that they no longer hold your money? All of a sudden, they have to provide value, right? You have to be a customer. You have to be a customer. And to be honest with you, I would much rather get a loan from a commercial bank, right? Once this whole system is fixed, and Bitcoin fixes this, of course. Why? Because I know that I'm protected legally, right? There's a legal framework there. You're not protected legally with DeFi, okay? They just rug pull you, your money's gone, and right, and you heard we talked about this when Gary Tan, you know, essentially went on a rampage when the Bloomberg person was asking them, and he was saying, essentially saying that the new tax provision in the infrastructure bill was essentially going to destroy DeFi. If DeFi was really decentralized, then no law that was passed in Meat Space would affect their so-called decentralized financial products, right? So it's all a goddamn scam, and it's all to separate you away from your Bitcoin. And remember, we've said this multiple times on the show, everyone is a scammer. Everyone wants your Bitcoin. Don't give it to them. Just keep it in cold storage. Long time preference. I guarantee you, like, and that's a strong word, right? If you buy Bitcoin, you hodl it for a minimum of 4 years, ideally 8. Best case scenario 12. Ideal case scenario for the rest of your life, right? Your money, your energy, your wealth is not going to lose value. And if they keep printing money at the rate they're printing, and they don't have a choice but to do that, right? Guess what's going to happen? Number go up, baby, right? So yeah, just avoid the scams. Just avoid the scam. Just buy Bitcoin. I promise you, it's a much better idea. And of course, you know, you're going to see a lot of these DeFi projects, unfortunately, right, in the short term, you're going to see some of them actually outpace Bitcoin's gains. But if you actually look at Bitcoin in the long term, right, no shitcoin has ever outpaced Bitcoin in the long term, right? So it's all about short time preference and long-time preference. But anyways, Phil, it's time for
the Daily Meme Review, sponsored by
Citadel 21. All right, guys, I'm not going to pull it up because this meme has shock value, right? And it's very easy to read quickly. So I'm going to give the credit where credit is due before we show it. The meme is by fellow plebe. Definitely go give him a follow at Jim Jones 1913. Let's check out the meme. We got this. Bitcoin. Federal Reserve. No, and guess what? Scratch this, put DeFi, and then scratch it again, and then put NFT, right? It's the same garbage. So it's like overly complex, and I feel like they do it on purpose. Anyways, phenomenal meme to explain the shitcoins, the Fed, proof of stake, everything except for Bitcoin. But shout out to that fellow plebe for that awesome meme. Phil, because it's such an awesome meme, I'm going to give it a very, very special score. A bearer bond for Bitcoin. Check this out. An orange special edition open dime.
Ooh.
Look,
you
check out the
gave me
back.
one of those.
Yes, I did.
I have it. I'm keeping it in mint.
Look, oh, no focus. Too late, guys. Anyways, it says legal tender on blockchain in some countries. It's funny.
That's awesome.
What would you give that meme, Phil?
You know what? Loved the meme. Found it hilarious, and I'm giving it my awesome soldering iron. Boom. This thing is awesome. Yep.
Okay.
You could swap the tips. It's very cool. You could change the temperatures. So, you can use it to do all kinds of stuff. Like put inserts into a case and stuff, make cool stuff with your 3D printer.
You could use it to fix...
And I can use it with electronics.
You could use it to fix an open dime.
I can use it to fix an open dime.
So many possibilities.
So many. It's like the Swiss Army knife of soldering irons. I love it.
Wow, that's a big claim.
Yeah, it's probably broken now. Now that I said that, I'm going to plug it in. It's going to break.
Anyways, guys, do you agree with our scores? Do you disagree? Let us know down in the comments. And join our Telegram group. Link us some memes to review because it's a meme review. And we review memes only by Bitcoin Plebs. So we need more memes or we're going to run out of memes. Even though we have a lot of memes and we try to catch up to them, but we don't have enough time. But we still need more memes, so join our Telegram group. But anyway, so it's time for
the Daily News, sponsored by
Crypto Cloaks.
All right, everybody, we're going to start off with some stats. We do this sometimes. Check out this stat by @Bitcoin Super P. It's a Glassnode stat. Bitcoin total transfer volume. Check this out. We just broke a world's record. $188 billion transferred in the Bitcoin network on one day. That is a world record, ladies and gentlemen. So while everyone is focusing on the price, the Lightning Network has gone exponential, and the amount of volume transferred on the Bitcoin network in one day has broken a record, and that is $188 billion transferred in one day without any middleman, without anyone. You don't have to ask anybody for permission. You could send this money anywhere, and it's seamless. And this is exactly why central banks are fucking shitting themselves. Phil?
I'm pretty sure we could have transferred so much more if we had bigger blocks. You see how it doesn't matter? You see how none of that matters? Like, all of this crap, all of their narratives, it's so funny. 188 billion? That's fantastic.
Dude, it's insane.
Oh, man. And what people don't understand is this, right? It's $188 billion. That's final settlement. That's not 3 to 5 business days sitting in limbo, wondering when your bank's going to go and, hit enter. Because really at the end of the day, there's really not much else to it. It's a whole bunch of transactions that go to like either a person or a specific algorithm and they process them. Like, it's really nothing else. It should be instantaneous, but it's not. Anyways.
It gets stuck in the compliance department, the mysterious compliance department in the back of
right.
banks that really are actually just another branch of the federal government to try to make sure that your transaction is compliant. Right. So, it's just absolutely phenomenal. Right. And Jack Mallers has touched upon this like a couple times. This is almost instant settlement with anybody around the world, no matter where they located. Right. Without having to ask anybody for permission. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter if you're deemed unbankable. Right. You could use the Bitcoin network to transfer volume to anybody without anybody's permission. And we really believe at Simply Bitcoin that this is fundamentally going to change the world, and it's going to lead the world to a new era of prosperity and freedom for mankind. But anyways, check this out, Phil. I'm going to take us back in time, because I found some signal amongst a lot of noise today. Check this out. This article was released June 5th. 2021. I highlighted the part that I want you guys to pay attention to. Yellen sees recent inflation as transitory rather than permanent, right? So she goes on to see, we're seeing some inflation, but I don't believe it's permanent. We at least on a 1-over-year basis will continue. I believe, though, the rest of the year to see higher inflation rates, maybe around 3%. Well, that was completely wrong, but anyways, moving on, I want you guys to remember this transitory, right? Now, what are the reasons for inflation? This Forbes article that came out July 7th, 2021 goes into further detail on again, I highlighted the word, transitory inflation, right? From the Fed meeting, the proof of stakers. Anyways, Transitory may mean about 6 to 9 months. Despite using the term transitory for the current 5% inflation, we've proven to you many times on our show, guys, that 5% inflation number is total BS. It doesn't include food. It doesn't include energy usage, which is the things that most of us actually spend money on. Anyways, we are seeing the Fed hasn't precisely defined the term. Right? It's transitory, but we can't tell you exactly what transitory is. The notes reveal that the Fed generally expects elevated inflation for the remainder of the year, but sees inflation moderating into 2022, right? Remember, guys, key word here is transitory. In 2021, we are seeing inflation catch up with last year's unusual drop. The Fed, that's the reason. Inflation is catching up. It has absolutely nothing to do with the hockey stick of money printing that isn't mentioned one time in the article. These people are crazy.
I have a question, though. I have a question. So, okay. So it's transitory. For how long is it Like
they don't define that.
What's
Phil.
the time span? No, they have to define the time span.
No, but they specifically said they have to define.
Because I'm pretty sure that you showed us a chart of like 50 years of like solid inflation. I mean, is 50 years considered permanent, or is that still transitory?
Phil, we might get banned. Okay, it's transitory. Okay,
It's transitory.
It's transitory. Okay, it's
Sorry.
transitory. Remember the Financial Times article. Fiat is not a meme. It's not a meme.
Right.
These people are bad.
Not money by decree because we say it isn't.
Exactly. So check out this. This was one of the main reasons, right, that Yellen and Powell stated for the main, and here it is, the main driver of inflation is supply bottlenecks as the economy reopened. This paired with robust consumer demand is putting upward pressure on prices. Again, the Fed sees these unusual disruptions to the economy moderating into 2020 as global supply chains work out their current issues. Okay, I'm going to read this again. Again, the Fed sees these unusual disruptions to the economy moderating into 2020 as global supply chains work out their current issues. And that is the main driver of inflation, as this article claims. And I just want to read the date. This came out July 7th, 2021. Well, check out this article from August 25th. The world's economy supply chain problem keeps getting worse. Oh my god, I joked because I'm laughing so hard. These people think we believe this. This is crazy. These people are fucking insane. Okay, anyway.
Because they're clowns.
I'm going to go back and just emphasize this, okay, so you guys don't think I'm kidding. As we are seeing in many areas, the main driver of inflation is supply bottlenecks as the economy reopen. Again, the Fed sees these unusual disruptions to the economy moderating into 2022. The world's economy supply chain problems keep getting worse. August 25th, 2021. You know who told you this? Bitcoiners told you this. And you know why we're told you this? Because they're full of shit. How do we know that? Because of this. There is no stopping this. There is no tapering back asset purchases. This is the Fed asset the Fed asset reserve sheet, right? As you could see, right, what happens when they taper that down? What happens to the stock market? It goes down, right?
If they stop, it collapses.
It collapses, man.
Plain and simple.
So let's go back to this article, right? You know, remember, this is the main driver, according to the article. Rising costs push exporters to raise prices, stoking inflation. Remember, that's what's stoking inflation. As supply chain crunch that was meant to be temporary... just like transitory, temporary, now looks like it will last well into next year as the surging Delta variant upends factory. This is dude. This is like, how do people take this seriously, bro? You know?
So did we just manufacture a virus to hide the crumbling economy of the world? I mean, don't get me wrong, like, it's a real virus, but
Phil, you can't say that.
No,
it's transitory.
It's transitory. Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. You're right.
We have to take this seriously. Okay.
Okay.
A scandemic.
More news.
Sorry, I had a cough. Disrupt shipping, posing more shocks in the world economy. check this out because it's really bad. We can't get enough components. We can't get containers. Costs have been driven up tremendously, right? And listen, I come from Venezuela, okay? And one of the first signs things start to go south is when you go to any stores. I went to a liquor store the other day, and this liquor store in my neighborhood used to be filled to the brim. I went it was 1 or 2 weeks ago, and this thing is empty, right? And this is happening all over the world, right? Why are UK businesses being hit by shortages at the moment, right? If you've been to your local supermarket recently and wondered why some shelves look bare, you're not alone. This summer, the UK economy has been disrupted by several factors, including labor shortages, new immigration rules, and the lingering effects of the pandemic. Nowhere in this article is mentioned the fact that they are printing money into oblivion. And perhaps, if you print money into oblivion, guess what happens when you print more money? You devalue everybody else's money. And that is generally called inflation, but nowhere is that mentioned in any of those articles. And all they're doing is blaming the scandemic. I mean, sorry, it is a pandemic, but the overreaction is questionable. And nowhere in that article does it ever mention the fact that we're printing money at a rate that has not been seen before. Nowhere is it mentioned there, Phil. Not even a hint. Money printing isn't even talked about. It's like taboo. It has nothing to do. It's about the supply chain, right? And apparently the supply chain just got worse, right? But it's like Bitcoiners, for some reason, we knew that it was never about the supply chain. So it's like the mainstream media is like trying to essentially keep this narrative going that it's the supply chain, that it's the consumers, that it's COVID, that it's everything else. But the mere fact that they are printing money like we've never seen before. A lot of noise there, but I hope we pointed out some very, very clear signal. We pointed out the dates. We brought the receipts. Phil?
Man, you're absolutely right. And, this is exactly how they fight, right? Like, this is exactly how it works. You increase the noise, you increase the confusion, and as a result, people don't pay attention to what's actually going on. And what's going on is that for years now, we haven't been able to stop printing any money, and every single time they try, the economy craters, okay? And it's so sad because so many people sit there and think like, you know what, they think that, that Wall Street actually matters. Like, you'd be surprised how many people sit there and think that, like, these analysts and the numbers that they come up with, they pull out of thin air, they think that it matters. They think that it all makes a difference. But what they don't realize is
this
that...
is the Phil, sorry to add to your point.
Oh, no, for sure.
This is where they tried tapering off. This part right here. And this caused the repo market crisis, right? This is where the Fed tried tapering off. As you can see, they tried to do it slowly but surely. And look what happened. Boop. Even bigger asset purchase in 2008. They can't stop, man. They are addicted like heroin. They cannot stop the money printing. The economy is addicted to this. I'm sorry, Phil.
No. You know what? Like that's the thing, right? Like they tried. They wanted to see what would happen, and they're like, "Oh my God, we're gonna kill the whole economic system if we stop printing." But you see, like it makes no sense, right? This is what happened. They debased the currency, and now we're all screwed, and now they have to pretend like everybody who's involved with the economy is a freaking genius. So that way everybody sits there and gets, the majority of people stay away from it. Well, no, that's why we have people that go to school for this. Really? Print money out of thin air and pretend that somebody's buying and selling it? Really? Sure? Okay.
Man. And look, there's a very famous saying from a wise man, right? Don't pay attention to what they say. Pay attention to what they do.
That's right.
And check this out.
All they do is print.
In between all the noise, right? There's a lot of signal here, right? Let's check this out, Phil. Second largest U.S. mortgage lender accepting Bitcoin. That's strange.
That's interesting.
Right? Because
it was volatile.
Yeah, right? Like, remember that article that we covered, essentially criticizing Nayib Bukele's move to make Bitcoin legal tender? How reliable enough is Bitcoin, right? Apparently it's reliable enough for the second largest mortgage lender to accept payment in Bitcoin. But it's just funny when they, when the CEO said, when he was asked, like, why are you offering this? You work in a big corporation, Phil. How much do you believe this last line? We're just giving options.
Nope.
Oh, man.
Let me tell you, man.
These people are crazy. But look, check this out. I'm going to tie it up. It's not only the second largest mortgage lender. Morgan Stanley continues to buy more Bitcoin. They're not getting direct exposure, but they're buying the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. Essentially, it's not as good as real Bitcoin, but you are getting indirect exposure to Bitcoin. So why is one of the world's biggest banks getting exposure to Bitcoin? Hold on a second. I thought it wasn't reliable. I thought it was highly volatile. What's going on here?
It's only used by criminals, Nico.
So strange.
Yeah, it's only used by criminals. Oh, well, you know what? There you go. The bankers are buying it. Right? No, because guess what? Bitcoin is neutral. It's for everyone. Doesn't matter.
Man, these people, it's like, again, we're just pointing a picture here, what the mainstream media wants you to believe, and versus what they are actually doing, what the powers that be are actually doing, right? The powers that be want exposure to Bitcoin, right? Anyways, U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission filings show that predominant bank Morgan Stanley holds shares of Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. In SEC filings, Morgan Stanley has just reported owning a large amount of Grayscale Bitcoin across multiple portfolios. The largest of these appears to be 900,288 whatever, a really big number.
928,051.
Thank you, Phil. I appreciate it. Nico can't read. Shares held by Morgan's Insight Fund. So, man, again, and check this out. I dug a little bit deeper because I had a hard time finding this. If you search this on Google, right, look at the outlets that actually reported on this. It's very sketchy outlets. Look at this. Bitcoin Manager, CoinDesk, The Tokenist, right? Market Insider. Okay, we have a big one, but this article comes from June 28, 2021. This last article goes from March 17, 2021.
They're not telling Main Street.
They're not telling you.
Because they want Main Street as their customers. They don't want to be front run by people. They want to be the front runners.
They're not telling you.
This is what Bitcoin does, though. This is what's great about Bitcoin.
They're not telling you. They're not telling you. They're telling you on one hand, this is highly volatile. It's very risky. But then the second largest mortgage provider in the U.S., we just want more options. We want Bitcoin. And then you have one of the biggest banks in the world getting a position in Bitcoin. So what does that tell you, right? And we just confirmed to you that without a doubt, they are lying to you and misleading you about inflation. They're not mentioning the record QE, the record money printing that has been done, that has never been done before in history. They're blaming it on the pandemic and they're blaming it on supply chains. And just coincidentally, those supply chain problems continue many months down the road, even though in the article, which I pointed out, it said that was only going to last a couple months. Do you see what's going on here? Do you understand the big picture, right? They're telling you one thing, but their actions are telling you that they're trying to get on the orange life raft just as everybody else. Because they know as much as we do that all of this shit is a goddamn scam. They know it. They just don't want to fucking tell you. That's what we do because we're simply Bitcoin. Anyways, Phil, what are your thoughts on, man, this is fucking stupid. Propaganda, I guess.
It is. It's such propaganda, but I have to dump on Morgan Stanley. I'm disappointed, but not surprised, right? They don't hold any real Bitcoin. They just hold shares of Grayscale. Grayscale is run by Barry Shilbert, or Silbert. I don't know. Anyways, I just, for me, it's really... I don't care. I don't care that they're buying shares of Grayscale. Sure, I'm like, obviously it's like, it's great, it's quote unquote great for perception, but at the end of the day, I don't give a shit because They're not actually buying Bitcoin. But to your point though, okay, they're offering, it's like they're offering Bitcoin services to their wealthiest clients. Like, why does it matter how much money you have? Anybody can go buy Bitcoin. You don't have to be loaded. Like this is this elitist psychotic crap, to make you feel special. Like all it is just it's jerking you off. Like that's all it is. It's the giant circle jerk, and that's what they're used to, right? I wear the suit, I circle jerk, and then you feel special, and we keep doing business. It's weak. But yeah, I think it's hilarious, just to go back to the first pieces of the articles that you were showing. I think it's hilarious what they're trying to do with, we got to blame the virus on, the shortages and this and that. And it's like, listen, it's all noise. It's all noise so that they can keep printing because they have nothing else to do. So they have to make it seem like it's always an event, right? Like whenever they pass a package, a stimulus or something, like it's like a big event. But guess what? Those events are becoming less and less valuable. And as a result, okay, they still have to make a big deal about it because they still need to print more and more. But the problem is it's doing less and less. And everyone's getting more and more pissed off and everyone's waking up a lot faster. So, like, this is one of those things where the candle is burning at both ends. They're not in a good position.
Absolutely.
Their
matrix is breaking.
Yeah, it's totally breaking.
They know that. We know that. We know they're lying. They know we know they're lying. And they're lying anyways. All right? This is end game for fiat. I suspect we will see this within the decade. This is the monetary reset that they're trying to do. Unluckily for them, and to use Christine Lagarde's own words, we have an escape valve this time, and they're not going to be able to pull it off like they've done so many times in history, right? Because this time we have freedom money, we have an uncensorable money, we have an anti-fragile money, and this is why it's so important to put your wealth and time into Bitcoin and not the shit coins, because Bitcoin is the only cryptocurrency on the face of the planet that could withstand a nation state attack. And remember, the state wants you to use their money because that is what gives them power. And Bitcoin takes away their power and empowers the individual, right? So this is going to be a rocky road where we're just pointing out the glitches in the matrix, right? So that you guys have a better picture of what's going on and the fight to come. But Phil, there was a website by Plebe today. Why don't you show everybody?
Websites by Plebes or Plebs. Here we go. Bitcoiner. Anil said so. Shout out to you, bud. Bitcoin is a neutral innovation, like the telegraph, steam engine, or printing press. It has no intrinsic opinions, preferences, or beliefs. The user gives it meaning. To better explain this concept, I wrote a children's book.
Oh,
very cool. Yeah. So it's essentially, and it's called Bitcoin is Neutral, and it's a children's book for adults. So here we go. This is his website, anilsaidso.gumroad.com / I guess that's L/BTC Neutral. Anyways, we're going to post the link in the show notes. But here you go. If you want to check out his book, you can. And we are going to post and you know what? Hold on a second. I think I just saw. So BitPaint. That's right. BitPaint's a fellow Bitcoiner. We know him. He does a lot of stuff with VR, and it's he created the Halloween and the VR Christmas world, the Bitcoin Christmas and Halloween world. Anyway, so he's involved in that. He gave a testimonial. Very, very, very good, sir. My eyes like it. All right. I'll take BitPaint's opinion. Anyways, link is down below in the show notes. Check it out. Support the fellow Bitcoiners.
Definitely support fellow plebs. This is an information war, so support the fellow people in the trenches with you, fighting for freedom. But anyways, Phil, no, not anyways, Phil. Anyways, guys, that was our show. If you enjoyed the show, you know what to do. Smash that like button. And of course, if you want to continue hearing the catastrophic fails from the mainstream media, the shitcoiners, the fiat economists, the list goes on, and the Bitcoin news from the Pleb perspective, definitely consider subscribing. And we'll see you tomorrow, guys, for another episode of Simply Bitcoin.
It's a clown world, and only the Bitcoiners are laughing.